This is Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.
Doesn't it? It did. Joe Cox with an up and out. Wide open. Touchdown. Israel Troupe.
Snap to Young. Drops back. Pressure from the edges. He throws near sideline. And it's intercepted. Intercepted. Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes. 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Near sideline. Breaks the tackle. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. 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 Georgia.
Good evening, neighborhood. How about them dogs?
32, 18. Let the celebration begin.
Oh, yeah. Well. Welcome to Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on not the Believe Podcast Network, but just the Believe Network. So some changes there from Braun up above. They're dropping podcasts from the Believe Podcast Network, so now it's just the Believe Network. Because of all the video podcasts and all the video content out there, they are just simply now a network and not just podcasts. They don't limit themselves to podcasts. But, however, we are here. We are partnered with Brinks TV to bring you the video side of it. It is the first day of spring here in Tennessee. As you can tell by looking at my face, I teach PE every other day, and I took advantage of the really nice weather that we had today. Maybe a little too much because now I matched the set. But joining me is Principal Troupe. So don't get sent to the principal's office at Monroe. Israel, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man? You get sent to my office, then you're going straight to the house. So, I got a new title this week. Every once in a while, they'll give me principal responsibilities, and it's perks to the job every once in a while.
That's right. He drops the hammer, so do not get sent to the principal's office. We need you at Hillwood. How about that? You get a few snow days a year. Well, we need you, especially in the freshman academy. Holy cow!
It's cold. It's cold up there. I can't do it.
Just come during the summer months. Just get us started at least. Scare the daylights out of those freshmen. We'll be good. So
there you go.
But we got a really, really action-packed show. We welcome a new offensive line coach, Coach Searels, to the mix. We'll kind of take a look at what he's gonna embark on with personnel. So we're gonna take a look at the offensive line position. A way too early look at the offensive line for the Bulldogs. We will briefly count down the days to the Tom Crean era is over. Then, of course, we've got some draft highlights a little bit with the Combine coming up, or with the Combine going on right now, I should say. George Pickens is made some headlines for himself. He's out to prove that he is faster than everybody else. Mike Farrell, I put out a list. Israel, we're gonna see if it's right or wrong in our opinion. And then, of course, we're gonna take it on out of here. So. And I will give you an update from the women's side. They're in conference tournament play right now, so we'll update you on that. So, but first, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that we were brought to you by Betonline.ag. Football might be over for this season, but not for long. But basketball's in full steam. March Madness is about to fire up. They have all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, all of that good stuff at BetOnline. It's your number one spot for all your sports betting needs. So, Israel, I'm going to get back on the horse and try another parlay here this weekend, or I might try one. I might wait until the SEC tournament and play a parlay. So I'm going to head over to the website, betonline.ag, or I'm going to do it on my mobile device and sign up today. I'm not going to receive the 50% welcome bonus because this is not my first deposit, but if it is your first deposit, you will get it. Just use the promo code BELIEVE to get started. So whether you like casino games like blackjack or Caribbean poker, or what else is one of those like really offshoot casino? If you like roulette, there you go. Or also with hockey, boxing, UFC, all that good stuff as well that you can bet on. You can even bet on tennis. I just discovered. So Not real sure how you do that, but
I didn't even know that.
yeah, you can bet on tennis apparently. But if you do so, BetOnline is the fastest, easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play all your favorite games. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. So, Israel, I'm gonna start with you. We talked about this very briefly because he was still just a name that was mentioned with all the candidates. But now that it's a reality, Stacey Searels is coming back for a second tour of duty with the Bulldogs. You were there when he was there. I think he was there for half your time, and then Coach Friend came in. What did you notice about Coach Searels? What was his strengths? What was his weaknesses? What did you notice about him?
Let's go with the bad first. I think, which is there wasn't a lot. I think he came in. We had a very young group coming in, a very inexperienced group. No. We had a very older group when we got there because we still had Big Cheese, Tessa Adams, and Bubba, Fernando Velasco. We still had those guys up front. Clinton Bowling and Trent Sturdivant were coming in as freshmen and starting up front. So, you had, pretty much an experienced line, a good core up front. So first year was pretty easy. No Sean and TV and Lump, kind of ran circles around everybody. So, that was great. They were really good in pass protection. We were literally one win away, from playing for a national championship. So, that line was really good. But then the next year, I think it was more of a headache for him simply because we went from being really experienced and a lot of leadership to a lot of young guys coming in and trying to play. So just from a negative standpoint, I think he didn't do a good job of winning the room, with the new guys coming in. That's really the only negative that I have about it. As far as X's and O's, as far as technique and everything like that, man, I think he's a phenomenal coach. Guys he's put in the NFL just from Georgia, Ben Jones, Clint Bowling, Justin Anderson, Vance Vance, just to name a few. I mean, just look at the production that we had with those guys. And all NFL caliber guys, Cordy Glenn, who went to the combine and ran a 5 flat, at 300 or something pounds. He was a great developer of talent. And I think now as he's grown, kind of matured, as an offensive coach too, I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to be a fresh mind for those young guys. As you go through Twitter, everybody's talking about, well, what about this? What about that? As a coach, if you don't evolve or you don't get better, then that's a problem. And obviously Coach Kirby and Coach Munkin, they have the confidence in him to get the offensive line right. So he's coming in with a young group, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I remember him coming in. It was my last year there. It was kind of Israel when you and I overlapped a little bit. But I remember coming in with him, and I would go pick up people from the airport, and we hung for a little bit. I remember being on first part of an official visit where we ate at the dining hall, and it was me and him and a few of the prospects that I just picked up from the airport, and it was. He's he doesn't get enough credit as a recruiter. I think he's really good with the prospects. I think he's really good with the parents. So I think he'll be fine in recruiting. I think he's about to find out just how much of a grind it actually is now. So that's the thing I worry about, with Mac Brown. Maybe he didn't, with Frank Beamer, maybe he didn't get the full dose of recruiting that he will get under say Kirby Smart. But, I'm excited that, I'm more excited than I am worried. I mean, of course, every coach has weaknesses, and you hope they can win the room when they walk in. You hope he can win the O-line room, but I've gotten to the point now where I trust Kirby. I know it's going to work because Kirby will. Kirby's got it set up to where it's almost a plug and play. I mean, if Kirby Smart is reaching out to you, you've got to be pretty good. It's kind of like if Nick Saban is doing it, if Pete Carroll back when he was at USC was reaching out to you, if Mac Brown, Frank Beamer, all the guys, Mark Richt for a second time in Miami, if Searels wasn't good, I don't think he gets those opportunities. Exactly. I don't think he's at North Carolina right now if he's not good. So it's just a matter of winning that room from moment one. And I think he's going to be kind of somewhere a happy medium between what Matt Luke was, which was an intense ass kicker, and what Pittman was, which was a master motivator. Would kick you in the ass if he needed to, but also was quick to put his arm around you as well. Kind of like that father figure. I think Searels is going to be kind of a combination of both a little bit, and hopefully he's kind of the best of both of those worlds. So I don't know. I'm excited. I think he'll do fine. I think scheme technique wise, I think he'll do fine. You look at North Carolina's offensive line. I thought they did well overall as a team. I didn't think they performed as well as they could have as an overall team, but I think if you look at his units, they were pretty good. So
I think they did well. I think he did as much as he could. He wasn't a coach that came in, throwing the ball 50 times a game either. He's more of kind of what we want to do, run the football instead of the pass. He already knows the RPO game, so that's easy to him anyway because they did it in North Carolina.
Right.
So I think it's a good deal, and I kind of see what Kirby's doing. He's bringing coaches back that know the spectrum of Georgia football.
Exactly.
Every coach that he's brought back is either a former player or has coached there before.
Bingo.
And, that means a lot. That means a lot because, one, they know the area. They know the kids. Their names are easily recognizable. We're not getting some Joe Blow from the Midwest to come in and coach some kids in Athens, Georgia. No, you're getting coaches who've been there. And that means a lot. That just shows you the respect and the confidence that he has in these coaches as well.
Well, Joe Blow was Coach of the Year in Decatur, Illinois, so don't slight him too much. So this offensive line, what is it going to look like with Coach Searels? What you lose Schaefer, you lose Sawyer. Does it become a Broderick Jones, Amarius Mims? Does Amarius Mims get back in the mix? I know he had kind of fallen out of favor with Matt Luke. Do those guys now emerge as your tackles? Does Van Pran take the next step at center? How does Tate Ratledge come off of injury? What is he going to look like? How does this line shake out, do you think?
I think those four guys that you just mentioned are going to be at least the four that I see starting out when spring starts. I think Mims gets a fresh start. It's hard to be in that doghouse, when the coach is coming back. The coaches don't forget, but he gets a fresh start with a new coach, kind of gets shown what he want to do, what he can do. And at the same time, I'm pretty sure Searels recruited him at some point, so he already knows his skill set. I think Jones gets better. I think Tate, comes off injury because we have the best athletic staff.
That's without a doubt, man.
In the whole entire nation. And of course, I think Tate comes back. I think Van Pran gets even better because one thing that Georgia has produced is some dang good centers. And one just played in the Super Bowl. Ben Jones. One has 2 Super Bowls, and David Andrews. So, we put out some great centers. So I think, that's not going to be a problem. I think he's only going to get better. So I think he'll find the right mix. And I think at the same time, we lose 2 top-notch linemen, but at the same time, we got a lot of youth that's coming back that play some significant minutes as well. So I don't think the lights will be too big for him. I think he'll get him going.
Yeah, totally. I think it's it's only a matter of time. Broderick Jones, I thought, did a tremendous job at the national championship, stepping up when we were struggling a little bit at the guard position and had to move Jamari Sawyer inside. I thought he did a great job stepping in at the tackle spot for Sawyer. So I think he could pick up right where that left off. But you look at Warren McClendon, what's he going to be able to do? You look at, just trying to figure out some of this depth a little bit. Who emerges? Who's going to be the surprise? Does somebody like Chad Lindbergh, Austin Blasky, Warren Erickson, does he kind of cross train at center and guard? Does Devin Willock, those guys like Owen Condon, like what are these down the line guys going to do? It's going to come down to our starters are going to be elite coming in, right? You got to think it's Broderick Jones, Amarius Mims, Cedric Van Pran, Tate Ratledge, and a surprise at the guard spot. So four of those spots are going to be spoken for. How good is Coach Searels going to be at cross training these guys? Who is going to emerge with this group? I'm excited to kind of see how it all shakes out. I think obviously we've signed really, really well. We've got a really good group, and I just look forward to it. I think scheme wise, we're doing the right stuff. I think Coach Searels is very good at what we do. Phil Longo, philosophy wise, is very, very different. He's got more of a spread, slinging around, RPO, and just kind of more of a fast paced deal that you see in college. And Monken is more of an NFL guy, more of a pro style guy. Is going to beat you with formations, motions, and matchups. I mean, that's the key difference. The college style, I guess, for lack of better words, if we're going to talk about styles, the biggest key difference to me is tempo and just using tempo and speed and formations to get people off balance versus pro style, which is getting guys in key matchups, moving guys around, using various formations and various modes, whether you're under center or in the gun, or there's some longer developing plays. There's the ability to go tempo, but there's also the ability to huddle and go slow. And I think it's a little bit deeper. I think with pro style, I think you have a little bit less, but you go deeper into that with all the wrinkles off of certain things. Whereas I guess what I'm calling the college style, the spread, is you got more breadth, like width, which is like you do a lot with a lot of formations, but it's all very, very simple, but you beat people with speed.
Yeah.
And both have merit, but
I think the pro style is more about numbers. And then, like you said, I'm coming from North Carolina. I think that the spread style is more of an east to west type offense, where, the pro style is more so run straight at you, beat you with numbers, beat you with matchups, things like that. So it's going to be really good to see, how he gels with, Coach Monken and, with having Bobo and McClendon back as well. Those guys have worked together. Todd Hartley, our tight end coach, was there too during this time. So, having the band back together, with Monken running the show, I think it's going to be fun. I think we're still going to be electric. We got some players back in Eric Gilbert. He's back with the team and things like that. So, I mean, the sky's the limit with this group. So I'm excited.
I'm super excited, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to get everything back on track with that. So welcome, Coach Searels. The welcome video is outstanding with him and everybody greeting him and things like that. It's outstanding to watch. It's fun.
You can tell he's like, this looks a lot different than when I was here the first time.
I know. He's like, they didn't have all of this stuff. Wow. Okay, here we go. And what's crazy is I think I have Coach Searels' old number still in my phone. So I'm curious to know. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it one of these days just to see if it still exists. Probably not, but we'll see if it still exists. Yeah, Coach Searels. Yeah. Here it is right here.
Got it. There it is.
There it is. So I'm going to call him, see if he remembers who I am. I was surprised that Bobo remembered who I was after many years of being away, because I came back and interviewed in 2012 for a director of on-campus recruiting job that was open. It was like a brand new position, and I came back and interviewed for that. Was one of the finalists, but obviously did not finish in that spot. So, and I was surprised that Coach Bobo had remembered who I was, and of course, me being nervous.
He never forgets anybody.
No, he doesn't. And that's impressive. So he was the one I interviewed with him first, because I did like the tour of I did like the cycle of coaches, and so I interviewed with him first, and he kind of like calmed me down a little bit, because I was kind of nervous, and I was like, it's good. It's good to meet you, Coach. And he's like, what are you talking about? I know you already. I remember you from been here before. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're nervous, aren't you? I was like, a little bit.
I'm about to poop myself. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. So I got a really good sinus infection after that interview. That's how nervous and dehydrated I was. I made myself. Man, it was crazy. But so yeah, I'm excited about the direction. We'll as we get towards spring practice, we'll take kind of an early look. We'll start with the new coaches and what they're about to get their hands on with their position groups. Obviously tonight we did the offensive line. We'll take a look at the DB room with Coach Fran Brown on the next episode. But let's move on. I'll be brief.
Yeah.
Tom Crean. It's coming to a close, right? I hope
it is. I just saw
all-time
investigation into the
all-time record. Yeah, all-time record for losses. But yeah, they're investigating the culture. I guess when that happens, you have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal.
Looking real good, but at the same time, I mean, it's time. I remember last year about this time, we were talking about, hey, he lost a couple of people, maybe he'll do better. As far as team morale, keeping them in the game, things like that. But it's only gotten worse. So, after this tournament is over, I think it's time. I hope they've got somebody in mind that they want to bring in as well. So,
yeah. I mean, there's a list, and there was a list, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. So, a lot of good names on that list. I don't know how many of them are realistic for Georgia with where we're at right now. But, the number one priority is to keep Cario Oquendo on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
That's agenda item number one. You got to keep him. Whoever the new coach is, you got to recruit him. The second item is get rid of those awful gray uniforms that we wore against Tennessee. It's just weird. It looks like a track suit. It looks like a track uniform. I don't like the logo.
Everything's so small now.
Yeah, I don't like the logo on the chest. Like for basketball uniforms, you got to have the name written across it. I don't like this logo thing. It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's a different time of basketball now. The kids roll up shorts now. It's a finesse sport now. That's for sure.
It really
but at the same time, a guy to keep in mind. I was just reading about him today. Is Georgia State's head coach right now. He's turned that program around as well. So,
and he's right down the road. Let's go get him.
And he knows the Atlanta area. He knows the kids around there. So,
Lefty Drizel.
Yeah, let's see what he's got.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, I'm all for it. I mean, if he's turning around Georgia State and he knows how to recruit in that city, hey, let's go, man. I like it.
Which is exactly what we need.
That's right. So I like that idea. Well, the regular season comes to an end on Saturday for the Bulldogs. We take on Missouri, who's 4-12 in the SEC, but we're going to make them look like world beaters, I imagine. We actually held a lead on Tennessee for a minute. Oquendo had the play of the year, which, that dunk he had, holy cow. But it wasn't enough, obviously. So, but we'll probably
dunk on me like that. You're gonna have to see me after the game in the parking lot. I can't just let you dunk on me like that and get away with it.
Yeah, like how did Oquendo not end up on the floor after that dunk? Yeah. Like you gotta you can't allow a guy to finish a dunk like that if you're anywhere in the vicinity. You can't.
I tell my think you're about to dunk on me, you're getting fouled. I'm telling you right now. You're going to the floor.
And it's a good thing Pat Riley was not watching that game because he probably would have broken his TV after seeing that. So, but SEC tournament should be fun. I think I'm going to predict that we get 8 teams as a conference into the tournament. So you got to think Arkansas, Tennessee, Bama, LSU, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, and Mississippi State. I think are all shoe-ins for the tournament. And so when you look at it, it's going to be a fun NCAA tournament. Hopefully the SEC shows out again. I'm not really rooting for any particular team. I just hope our conference does well. And I'm not going to be all gung ho like SEC, but in the back of my mind, I'm just like, okay, I hope we have a good showing, and I hope Florida loses if they make the tournament. So
I'm just hoping I can win some of my money back from Auburn messing up my parlays. That's all I'm worried about.
Those are facts. Yeah, those are key facts, but also key facts. Peace of mind. Is there anything more important? No. And that's what NordVPN is here for, to give you peace of mind while you're online. And with all the threats that you face today on the internet, it's more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN that you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity, the most servers, and next-gen encryption to make sure everything you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all your computers and devices, no matter the operating system. With NordVPN's unlimited bandwidth, you never have to worry about a slow connection either. Plans started under $4 per month. So do this. Grab your exclusive NordVPN. Grab that deal by going to nordvpn.com/believe, or just use the promo code BELIEVE when you check out. That's BLEAV to get up to 70% off your NordVPN Plus plan, plus one additional month for free. It's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Also, a thing that I need to do when I get on the internet is I need to, with all this talk about multivitamins, I got to get one that's top quality. And that's Athletic Greens. With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and I didn't know this was a thing, but adaptogens to start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients that supports gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. I need all of the above on that. It's also lifestyle friendly, fits a wide range of diets. There's only 1 gram of sugar, no chemicals, or artificial anything. So reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/believe. That's BLEAV. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/believe. These statements are not meant to be evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. Athletic Greens, take ownership of your health. So, Israel.
Just ordered mine today.
Oh, okay. All right. Look at you. You're ahead of the game.
Be in next week. I'm excited about it. Did the YouTube reviews and, talked about, the benefits and all this stuff about it. And, all the reviews are great. So, can't wait to start it up.
I can't wait to see how it matches up. So, there you go. Looking at the women's side of it real quick, we have the SEC tournament happening right now, and going to give you some results there. Georgia is down right now at halftime, 37-22 to Alabama. They're playing right now as we speak in the SEC tournament. So hopefully our women can pull that out. Jenna Stady was named first team all conference for Georgia, so that's a big honor as well. But Vanderbilt fell short of Florida. Florida rallied for their 53-52 win. Arkansas beat Missouri, and Kentucky trounced Mississippi State. So all of them will move on to the next round. And the last game of the night for the SEC tournament is happening right now. Georgia's down 37-22 at half. So hopefully a big rally in the offing for the Bulldogs, who were 20-8 overall, 9-7, and a very competitive SEC.
Mm-hmm. That girls' side is absolutely ridiculous. There's so much talent in the SEC and women's basketball. Obviously, we have South Carolina being the top team to beat. So, I'm excited about the girls, Final Four and their big dance as much as I am the boys. So, this is a great time for basketball, especially when both sides, the women's and the men's side are being successful. And they're bringing excitement to their respective schools. So, I'm excited for fun. I'm excited for March Madness.
I am too. And I think, I'm going to hopefully get back into the sport of basketball with this year's March Madness. But the winner of tonight's game will get Tennessee. This tournament moves up here to Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. So Arkansas will take on South Carolina, Florida, and Ole Miss, Kentucky, LSU, and then, of course, Tennessee against tonight's winner with Alabama and Georgia. So stay tuned to that. That is your women's tournament update. Hopefully the Dogs will pull it out. All right. The draft is coming up. The combine is now. The receivers were up on the 40-yard dash. George Pickens, in his combine interview, talked about a few things, talked about just how injured he was, says he's feeling really good right now, and he's wanting to prove to the world that he's not just big, but he's fast as well. Where do you see George Pickens? I know he's getting second, third round grade, somewhere in that range. I got him as a high second rounder. And I say that only because there's so many linemen and defensive players in this draft that I think the first round is just going to run out before a huge run of receivers is going to happen. But there's a list of receivers. It's a loaded receiver draft, but unfortunately the defensive side of the ball is even more loaded, as is the offensive line. So where do you see George Pickens fall into or going? What team do you think fits him the best? Why, where do you think he ranks among the draft prospects at the wide receiver spot?
Just watching him run that 4.43 and that 4.4 today, he jumped up. So I think he's probably going to go late second, early third. Just depending on how everything falls and what each team's looking for. It's hard to say right now exactly what team picks him up. I can't really think of one off the top of my head that's in dire need of a receiver. Maybe Tennessee, to kind of help out AJ and Julio. I think they're missing a third receiver. That's for sure. So Tennessee would be a great place for him. He bring another big body in there to kind of match those two as well. Take some heat off of Derrick Henry a little bit. So
I'd like to see the Titans get him.
Late second, early third, mid third, thing like that. But the amazing thing is him running today, and just seeing him, just shows you, one, how advanced medicine is today, how well Georgia takes care of their players. And I think it was either him or one of our other players said that the way they practice prepares them for the NFL.
Yeah, it was
Kirby does a great job of preparing these guys for the next level. That's one thing that high school coaches should do. They prepare their guys for the college level. The college level prepares them for the NFL. So, watching him run, watching his stride, just the way he talked about, everything being at Georgia, even when he was hurt, was a step in the right direction. I think he's going to do some amazing things here soon. I mean, it's crazy that he just tore his ACL in, March of last year, and now he's running 4.4 in the NFL Combine the very next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing short of amazing. I mean, you watched him just progress and progress and progress. I mean, just how fast he was able to get back and just started doing some light jogging drills like back in September, where he was doing indie period stuff and just kind of doing some straight line running and starting to do some cutting back in September, to where he was able to inject himself in a football game where, I mean, was he a huge factor in that Georgia Tech game? Not really, but it was kind of his, his presence was definitely felt, and it was just getting him comfortable with the game and the speed of the game. You knew he was going to be limited. And then the SEC championship, I think you probably wonder, okay, well, if he was able to play, why didn't we play him more? Well, I mean, it's obviously wasn't 100%, and he gave us everything he had. And then coming down the stretch run of the playoff, I think that he was well protected, and we had the luxury and ability to do so because we had guys like Brock Bowers and A.D. Mitchell and Ladd McConkey and those guys to kind of help carry the load to where we didn't have to overuse George Pickens in those games, and his presence was still enough of a factor that we were able to get on finally the correct side of a Georgia-Alabama matchup. So, I think what he brings, and I tweeted this earlier today. There was a list that Mike Farrell put out, which honestly I think is a very, very good list. I would just rearrange some of the people, and but. Again, I'm not saying his list is bad, but I'm saying it could be a little bit better because I think when you look at some of his measurables, obviously he ran a 4.4 today, so that helps a ton. But you look at some of his size measurables, his ability to play the ball in the air and the ability to contort his body, and some of the plays that he makes, I think makes him a special prospect for the NFL because that's a skill. And this probably more than me, and probably more than most, that it's not the wide open catches, it's not the easy short quick throws, it's the contested catches in traffic that really kind of set you apart.
Exactly, it's those catches and what you do with the ball when you have it in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Like Jamar Chase is going to take it to the house, and he's going to make a tough catch on a 50-50 ball. He's going to go and get it. That's what George Pickens is. George Pickens has some dog in him, and even though he got suspended for that fight he had against Georgia Tech, it showed you how much dog he has in him, and he's not going to back down from anybody. I wish he didn't legitimately fight the guy because it kind of screwed us, but. I think it does show you something. So, to me, that
list, I think Chris Olave for me is the number one receiver. I mean,
that dude is ridiculous.
What he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a chance to watch the Drake London kid or the Garrett Wilson kid, but I think number 3 is Jameson Wilson. I think that's right. I think Olave is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I like Treylon. I like where Treylon Burks is. I think he's number 5. I think John Mechie is actually number 4 to me. If he finishes the season, I think he's one of the top 5 receivers in the draft. Pickens, I think he's probably 6 or 7 on this list. That's just me.
I think he's 5. I think he's 5 and Treylon is 6. I think the size kind of Treylon's Treylon's a slasher guy. I mean, Treylon's a slot. I love Treylon Burks. I love his toughness. I love his competitiveness. I think Burks is 6. Pickens is 5 to me.
Mm-hmm.
Dotson, I think, had a good showing. I think David Bell goes to the end of the list. I think Wan'Dale's got to upgrade. I mean, this is a tough list because you got to put people somewhere. I think Bell goes down. I think Garrett Wilson goes down. I think Drake London goes down. I think those are your 7 through 10. Olave, I love that as number 1. I love John Mechie. I think he's, I think Jameson, because Jameson and Pickens are very similar players.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you rank Jameson 3rd, Pickens has got to be somewhere close.
Yeah.
So I like the playmaking ability of Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's got to be up there somewhere. I think Mechie has got to be up there somewhere. And then, of course, Pickens.
Mechie's a bad man. I mean, Mechie's just intangibles,
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me a lot of Jalen Waddle with his speed and his toughness. That's really
I think Mechie overall is probably better than Jameson Williams. But Mechie, Mechie was just kind of buried on the depth chart last year. And then, of course, he gets hurt this year. But I think when you look at overall talent, I think it's Olave, Mechie, Williams. I just lost my train of thought. I think it's Olave. Then I think it's Mechie. Then I think it's Jameson. Then I think it's Pickens and then Burks. And then the rest and then Wan'Dale and then the rest you can whatever you want to do with it. Doesn't matter.
I like that. Just from watching those guys, and I mean, you can't knock what Chris Olave did. I mean, that kid is just, he's ridiculous at what he does. So
he ran a 4.28 today.
Yeah, that man was running. You hear me?
He was running.
That line. So
yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see where they fall. The NFL draft's always that exciting time of year. So, and it really just depends on what the team's looking for too. You can have all the talent in the world, but if the team's not looking for your specific, talent, so they say,
that's where the NFL is. The NFL is in a good place where they can do that. They can be selective on what they need. Like if they need a slot guy, and that's not saying that if Treylon Burks goes before George Pickens that he's, necessarily better. I mean, I think we're looking at splitting hairs here when we talk about the differences in guys. But if I'm in favor of George Pickens because his size and his ability to go up and get it. Is kind of where I'm at. Is a tiebreaker on that. Olave is just electric, man. I think the Chiefs need somebody like Jameson Williams or George Pickens. They need that bigger target. I don't think Byron Pringle is that guy, but they need that guy to complement. Can you imagine if you have Jameson or if you have JMO or George Pickens opposite of Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
With Mecole in the slot.
Kelsey at tight end. I think the Jets would benefit from getting a couple of these guys as well to put some weapons around Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
The quarterback room is going to be really interesting from the simple fact that you got Willis, you got the kid from Pitt. I mean, you got some guys coming out of there. It's the Steelers that are in need of a quarterback. Sounds like Green Bay's about to be in need of one. Tampa Bay. I know Tampa Bay has, the Florida quarterback, but at the same time, I mean,
he's not an NFL starter. I'm sorry.
They're going to need some help.
He's just not. Don't. I'm not saying this directed at you, but he just don't come at me with. You can miss me with that. And I know you agree.
Coming out.
I know
it
you
was
agree.
hard coming out. That's why they were the third team I named.
Yeah, so they're going to need it, but honestly, I just don't. As far as pro talent goes, in this draft, I don't see it being very strong for the quarterbacks. I don't. No. I mean, Malik Willis is a super talent, but I mean, is he going to need years to develop as an NFL guy?
I don't think he will. I think with him having Hugh Freeze as his coordinator, I think that's kind of helped him more than it's hurt him. Because I mean, Hugh Freeze, despite how anybody feels about it, he's a bright offensive mind. He knows the quarterback position. You hear it when you hear Malik talk. You hear his confidence in what he says. So him taking over the room, is not going to be hard for him.
Right.
So
right.
I hope that's one thing. I hope that Justin Fields gets. In his second year, he gets that same confidence as well.
I think he will. I really like where the Bears have gone. Even though I can't remember this guy's name that they hired, but they hired him from Green Bay. So I think they're in good shape there. Finally, just getting, with Matt Nagy, it just kind of seemed like he was all over the place with the scheme and with what he was trying to do.
He wore a visor with a bald head, so obviously he wasn't thinking correctly.
You got to have flowing locks if you're going to wear a visor.
Or some hair at least,
Yeah, something. So when you look at the draft, obviously, Kenny Pickett, I don't know. Like his hands were 8.5. He has small hands.
And he wears a glove when
he is not even in the NFL yet, and he's already wearing 2 gloves. That's not a good thing. So I don't know. I mean, moxie-wise, intelligence-wise, he'll be good. But I don't see him being a long-term starter. Matt Corral has got to get a little bit less fragile to me. I think he's a tremendous talent. And I think Lane Kiffin, along the same lines as Hugh Freeze, does a good job of getting those guys ready. But, I mean, can he withstand the beating? I don't know. He's got to find the – like, Matt Corral is so dependent on where he lands. Like, Malik Willis also, to a certain degree, is very dependent on where he lands. There's not that transcendent quarterback in this class to where it doesn't matter. Usually there's at least one or two of those guys that where it doesn't matter where they go. Like Zach Wilson probably could have ended up anywhere and been fine, been great, actually. I think the same of Justin Herbert when he was drafted. I think he could have gone anywhere and been good. And there's a lot of guys. A lot of the starters playing right now are that type of player. I just don't think there is one that really jumps out at me. I'm not sure that Malik is that guy, but he's probably the closest to me.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on the scheme, like you said. I think he fits well, kind of what the Steelers are wanting to do.
Yeah.
Moving forward, that's one scheme I think he fits well in. And
it's a stable organization too, which is what I like. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be good for him. And you have a veteran. You have the most veteran coach outside of Bill Belichick with Mike Tomlin, who I don't know why people continue to doubt him. I don't get it. I don't get it.
This draft is more so geared toward the skill position as far as DBs and receivers, and I think you got a pretty good lineman crew.
Yeah, good lineman crew. You got a great,
very lineman heavy.
You got great defenders. I mean,
yeah, this is going to be a defensive draft for sure.
Yeah, teams are going to really build well. I think this trade season is going to be interesting. Some of the rumors that you're hearing with all that stuff. I think the free agency window opens up real soon, so that's going to be fun too. But I think you're going to see some interesting trades. I think Deshaun Watson, I'll be curious to know where he ends up, whether it's Tampa or Pittsburgh. Seems like Houston is all in on Davis Mills. What do you think about that? Does it really matter?
I don't know. It doesn't matter at this point. I still think Deshaun is their guy, but I understand the kind of the circumstances that they're in right now. You kind of got to move on and be prepared for another quarterback. So,
well, Deshaun Deshaun is no longer your future because he has kind of blown it up himself. And I'm not even talking about the sexual assault stuff. I'm talking about he's made it so toxic that with his I don't want to play for this organization any longer situation.
But he wasn't wrong in some regards.
No, I'm not saying I disagree with him on a lot of stuff. I just think his time there is done, which right, wrong, or indifferent.
Oh yeah,
it's the truth.
I think you're definitely right with that.
So I think no matter what no matter what, he's not the future there because he doesn't want to be the future there. So
that part.
And can't say that I blame them. The Texans are a very, very shaky organization when it comes to operations. So I can't blame them one bit. So last thing before we get out of here, we talked about this on Illegal Motion. Didn't realize it was going to be such a hot button issue, and we talked a little bit about it last night on SEC After Dark. But Grambling. I want to get into Grambling a little bit. They hired Art Briles.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even like that they hired Hugh Jackson. I thought they could have done better in that regard. Like, what are your thoughts on a storied HBCU program? Eddie Robinson, Doug Williams, just all the tradition that surrounds Grambling State University. For them to hire Hugh Jackson, who I don't think has won double-digit NFL games in the 3 stops that he's had as head coach. And then you take that guy, then he hires Art Briles, who, in the scope of where you're at, doesn't fit with the scope of all of the horrible things that he allowed to go on at Baylor when he was there. The judgment, the lack of judgment in making that decision to hire him just kind of bothered me a lot about this. Am I wrong? Am I overreacting? Is Hugh Jackson going to be is he going to be fine as a head coach? I think he's a good coach. I just don't think he's a good head coach.
I think he's going to be fine at the college level. It's hard to get grown men to do things,
That is true.
At the same time, it's a different environment, different time for him. I'm pretty sure he's involved as well, with his head coaching mentality. So I'm all for giving somebody a chance until you prove me wrong in that regard. Now, to Art Browse, I'm all for second chances. I'm all for, if you, talk to Jesus and whoever you praise to and you figure it out, I think, within yourself, I think that's fine. But at the same time, you're putting him back in a situation that he was in that he didn't handle very well. And not only that, is that one of the most historic HBCU colleges in the nation. Did I like the hire from a football mentality? Yes. I think Art Browse, he's a very sharp guy. He's very good with X's and O's. He's a very good coach, in my opinion. I did not like the hire from a personal standpoint of that we didn't just forget what you just did at Baylor.
He's a terrible cultural fit too, I think.
I think that stigma carries you. I saw J-Boy tweet a picture of him. I said, why does he look like Dumbledore from Harry Potter?
Dumbledore.
So you can tell that everything's been weighing on him too. But with Grambling, I think everything goes through the president and everything like that, athletic director. They let you hire him. So then they tried to be like, well, no, we don't like that. We didn't condone that. Yeah, you did because
after they got the backlash.
Yeah, you can't just dismiss yourself after backlash. You can't do that. So
no.
I'm out for second chances. I am. If he admitted that, hey, I did this wrong, blah 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 blah. But he never did. I don't think he really righted that wrong. And now you're just putting him back in a setting to where he's dealing with players. And they're not going to listen to him. They're going to be like, aren't you the guy from Baylor that let all the boys do this? Kids don't forget. It might have happened when they were like in fifth grade, but there's this thing called Google. So they can Google your name and figure out why is this Power 5 coach at Grambling?
Exactly.
It's just not a good situation.
No, it's not. But
Grambling knew better.
They did. They had to have vetted him. They know better. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought Grambling, I thought this was way beneath Grambling to do something like this. To just try to, you're Grambling. You don't have to steal a headline. You're the most, when it comes to SWAC football, you are the star standard.
Yeah.
You don't have to
keep up with Jackson State, and it backfired big time.
Yeah, they panicked. They hired Coach Prime. We got to do something. We got to make a splash. No, that's like Alabama panicking when somebody makes a splash hire as head coach. You're Alabama. Who cares? They still got to beat you. You're still the gold standard. You're still the gold standard in the SWAC. I don't care what Coach Prime does. It's still Grambling. And still probably will be Grambling for a long time coming, because Coach Prime ain't going to be a lifer at Jackson State. Let's be honest about that. He's going
to go somewhere here real big real soon.
Exactly.
You can't knock what he's doing.
No, you can't. But Jackson State will be an afterthought when Coach Prime leaves. That's my point. They won't, because it's Coach Prime that's driving all of this, which he's doing a hell of a job doing. But when he leaves, where's that going to go? They'll probably sink back to where they were, which was completely irrelevant. But Grambling State is not. Southern University is not. And even as bad as Mississippi Valley State has been, Jerry Rice made them relevant. And everyone knows who the Delta Devils are because of Jerry Rice. they're still going to be irrelevant. So I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Okay, maybe I overreacted on Hugh Freeze. I don't know. We'll see. Hugh Freeze.
Browse.
I definitely didn't overreact on Mark Browse. I still hate that hire, but I still hate that they did that. I'm glad they fired him. On Hugh Jackson, maybe I'm overreacting a little bit. Maybe I thought they could have done better. I think an up and comer
better with the head coach hire.
Yeah, I think an up and comer would have been a good, like, if they're going to go the route of Hugh Jackson, like, are you going to give somebody a third chance, or are you going to have an up and comer? Like that's what they were at that crossroads, and
making an up and comer. If it's me,
I'm thinking young up and comer that has a little bit of pedigree. That for where they are as a program, they're a little bit down currently. I think that would have probably boosted them up, and I think they'd have been just fine, because I think an up-and-comer is not hiring Art Briles. I think an up-and-comer can, they're selling a lot of these guys short by trying to make these splash hires. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate that. That's like hiring a proven head coach in the coaching world. And
just get the best guy. Really, who cares? You know what gets you splash? You know what gets you attention? Winning.
Exactly.
That's what gets you attention. Coach Prime wouldn't be doing what he's doing if he wasn't winning.
Exactly.
He's backing it up, which is what he's done his entire career. He's backed it up. That's what he's doing. And Eddie George is backing it up. Eddie George is a highly intelligent guy. Eddie George might have been the best guy for that job. He's a highly intelligent guy. He's well versed in a bunch of different worlds. I mean, he just that guy's a dude. He's a special dude. So, but anyway, well, we're going to get out of here, because we've been a little bit over an hour. We've talked some FCS football. Even we were believe in SWAC football for a minute there. We find us on social media. Subscribe, comment, check out our channels. You can find me 4 days a week at this point. When Illegal Motion's in season, and when we're recording regularly, you can find me 4 days a week. So the fact that I don't need to do that much extra content, but you can see me in different capacities each day of the week. We have started live streaming Illegal Motion, so you can see this. You can see this. Hopefully, not sunburnt for too long face. 4 days a week, where Israel and I and Vinny, we join up with Vinny Hardy to do BC the East. Of course, Illegal Motion on Tuesdays. Then Wednesday nights is SEC After Dark. And then here we are. We come at you. I think we're technically live on a Friday morning, but and it's just here with us. So subscribe, comment, find us, and you won't regret it. I promise you. We're going to start getting some we're going to start having a little fun here. We're going to start educating you on the game of football. Our goal is to make you smarter as a fan. So we're going to do that. We're going to invite some coaches on here. We're going to talk ball a little bit. So if you're a coach, this is going to double down as entertainment and professional development.
There you go.
How about that?
I had that earlier this week.
There you go. Yes, don't hit the kids, right? Is that what it was?
Yes, de-escalating situations within the school building that may arise on any given day.
Did you de-escalate by giving them the people's elbow?
No, I get fired. I'll be on the front page of the paper on the news.
Yeah.
I work too hard for these degrees to go down for a kid being upset.
And calling you names. No, I agree. I had to kick somebody out of the ACT on Tuesday. They didn't like it. They threw their test at me. They didn't like it. It was bad. They
play stupid games. You win stupid prizes.
Exactly. They were, and all they had to do was just stop and move on to test 2. Like I said, stop. We're on test 2, and I noticed he was bubbling test 1 because he didn't finish. And I went over and I just very calmly said, "Hey, get on test 2." because I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and that maybe he just
didn't hear you.
Not only didn't hear me, just sometimes like when you're in the middle of a test like that, you like bubble you get in the wrong section accidentally, like that happens, from time to time. And so I was going to give him that benefit of the doubt. He looked at me like dead at me, dead into my soul. He gave me one of those FU looks and kept going in test 1. So I very quietly said, "You're done." Grabbed his test, or he actually kind of threw it. I don't know if he's throwing it at me or if he's just flinging it, but he threw it down. It landed harmlessly on the floor, and then he was escorted to the library.
You're a better man because I'd have made him pick it up.
I didn't think it was fair to the other testers. Yeah,
I had to call timeout.
I strongly considered. I had to step out in the hall. I got somebody to step in for me though, for a few minutes while because I was like, like when your adrenaline's going, you start kind of like shaking a little bit, like you're ready. That was where I was at. I was like,
it's been a week. I don't know what's wrong with these kids, but it's been a week. If anybody is listening or anybody's live, please pray for your teachers and coaches, administrators during this time that it gets warm during school. Don't know what happens, but these kids are off the chain. Please say a prayer for us every day.
And if you're praying for Israel, he is all three.
Yes.
Teacher, administrator, and whatever else you just said. So yeah, there you go. But subscribe, comment. We are the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on not the Believe Podcast Network, but just the Believe Network. We're on the Believe Network. We're presented by BetOnline, NordVPN, and Athletic Greens. Israel bought his. Now I got to buy mine. We're going to see you back here next week. We hope you have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
This is Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.